Could Lance win a Pokemon League with some of the best champions of the other Pokemon regions? This will be the new challenge of the fan game Pokemon challenges that I'm working on and which you can download and play. Yes, you heard correctly. In today's video, I'm going to undertake one of the most epic challenges I've ever faced. A tough battle to see who is the strongest Pokemon champion. And let me spoil you a little because I want you to know that this challenge has been the most epic one I've done to date, and you can't miss a single battle. I almost had a heart attack when I took on the challenge. I remind you that you have a playlist of the rest of the Pokemon challenges in the description so you can catch up. This is the 4th challenge, so if you want to see the previous 3, you know what to do. Before we start, let's quickly go over the 3 rules I follow in these challenges. Every Pokemon will be at the same level. I can only use the same number of Pokemon as the rival trainer. I have 1 life during the challenge. This life will be consumed when I lose a battle, and it will allow me to try to win that battle again. But it's a single life for the whole challenge, not for each separate battle. So I can only lose 1 battle. And I remind you of the extra rule that you have to follow. And that is, in order to keep bringing more challenges to the channel, you have to subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and comment which you would like the next challenge to be. Lastly, all that's left is to show you the incredible team Lance has, based on his rematch in Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, where he has Seadra, Gyarados, Aerodactyl, Charizard, Alolan Exeggutor, and last but not least, his amazing Dragonite, which couldn't be missing from this team. Moreover, Kimba, the creator of these challenges, gave me the option to use Mega Charizard X, but after considering it, I decided I would only use it in 1 battle. And speaking of battles, let's start with the first one. Lance against the League Champions. Here we go. For the first match, we have none other than Blue, the Kanto champion. I decided to start with Gyarados, as it has a nice Intimidate which would give me an initial advantage. Blue sent out his legendary Pidgeot. The Intimidate took effect, but Karma made the bird hit us with a Feather Dance, reducing Gyarados' attack, leaving it useless. My best option now was to switch to Aerodactyl, as it has a type advantage. A Rock Slide left Pidgeot shaky, but it surprised me with a Whirlwind bringing out Dragonite. I thought a Fire Punch would send it packing, but it was left with 1 HP. Luckily, it repeated Whirlwind, now bringing out Charizard and finishing it off with a Dragon Pulse. His next Pokemon was Raiden, so obviously I decided to keep Charizard. Wait, what? Thanks to my incredible AliExpress controller, I lost a turn. I tried to salvage it as I could by bringing out Alolan Exeggutor. Raiden's Double Rock Tomb left my homegrown Exeggutor shaky, but 2 Mega Drains did the rest of the work, recovering health in the process. I wish we had Giga Drain by now. His 3rd Pokemon was Arcanine, and due to its Intimidate, I thought Seadra would be the best option. Arcanine, being faster, hit me with a crunch that, surprise, made me flinch. The next crunch left poor Seadra with little life, but luckily the Hydro Pump didn't miss, leaving Arcanine in the red. It was time to finish it off with a Dragon Pulse, but it was left with 1 HP. Poor Seadra is pretty bad, to be honest. I decided to sacrifice Exeggutor, and a crunch from Gyarados did the rest. He now brought out his Alakazam, and I chose to withstand with Gyarados and its crunch. I managed to lower its defense, but a double Psychic made my companion fall. The speed of this Alakazam was a problem, so I sent out Dragonite. Wait, again? I feel like I wasn't too keen on this challenge because I kept trying to sabotage it. Luckily, 2 Fire Punches were enough to defeat it thanks to the defense reduction from Crunch, leaving Dragonite quite battered. Next, it was Exeggutor's turn, but 2 Flare Blitz attacks from Charizard ended him without problem. It was Blastoise's turn, Blue's star Pokemon in the last one. I brought out Charizard to try a Thunder Punch, but the damage was more pitiful than my state after 2 jars of beer, and I also lost Charizard. I decided to bring out Seadra for its speed to try to wear it down a little, but strangely enough, that fat turtle was faster, taking down my seahorse. I sent out Aerodactyl, but a Hydro Pump eliminated it in 1 hit. I started to have problems as I was left with only Dragonite. I crossed my fingers hoping it didn't have Ice Beam, and luckily he used a simple Bite which didn't make me flinch, allowing me to finish it off with Outrage and thus ending the first match, practically shivering. The battle was tight, especially because of that Blastoise that almost made Blue win, but despite my blunders, I managed to claim the victory. And don't worry, because this is just the beginning. You haven't seen anything yet. Now I have to face Wallace, the Hoenn champion from Pokemon Emerald. He sent out his first Pokemon, Wailord. I started as in the previous battle, with Gyarados and its Intimidate to lower his attack. I decided not to switch and managed to bring him down without major complications with Crunch. Wallace's next Pokemon was Tentacruel. Being a poison type, I brought out my beloved Aerodactyl as it has a strong ground type move. Here, Wallace surprised me, because after eating the first Earthquake and poisoning me with Toxic, he withdrew his Tentacruel and sent out Ludicolo. I decided to play it safe and brought out my Alolan Exeggutor to hit him with Dragon Pulses. Plus, I didn't have a better option, but I didn't count on him having double team. And after 7 days of live streaming, Ludicolo finally fell. Wallace brought out his battered Tentacruel again, and with an Earthquake from Aerodactyl, I finally finished him off. He then sent out a Whiscash, but thanks to its 4x weakness to Grass type, 2 Giga Drain Drains from Alolan Exeggutor sent it to the lobby. It was the turn of his Gyarados, and I countered with my own Gyarados, us intimidating each other. Probably both Gyarados were in shy mode after this. Well, not his. He made a great dragon dance. This is a problem, because now he could be faster than my Aerodactyl. After my Gyarados fell, I sent out Charizard to try to sneak in a Thunder Punch, and luckily he made a Hyper Beam, falling on the second turn. Wallace now sent out his last Pokemon, Melodic. I kept Charizard to hit it with a Thunder Punch and try to paralyze it, but there was no luck. A Surf ended him. I had the fight made, I sent out Dragonite, and 2 Outrages would end it. Well, I would have liked that. With my star Pokemon dead, I started to get scared. Exeggutor wouldn't withstand Ice Beam either, so I brought out Seadra, but it couldn't do anything. Dragon Pulse tickled it, and with an Ice Beam and Surf, it knocked down my Seahorse. The next to fall was Alolan Exeggutor. The fight was lost, only my Aerodactyl was left, and it had no chance against his Melodic. Its best attack was Rock Slide, and it had the plus of being able to make it flinch. It was my only option. Fortunately, luck was on my side, and with a simple Earthquake, I managed to clinch the victory. A victory even more on the edge than Real Madrid's comebacks in the last Champions League. Truthfully, things were heating up fast with just 2 battles, and now I was feeling hotter than a Slugma's masseuse because it was my turn to face off against Steven, the original Hoenn champion. Wallace, that dirty usurper, should give the position back to our rock-loving friend. Not knowing who he would start with, I decided to begin with Aerodactyl as it was best suited for this battle. His first Pokemon was a Skarmory, so I switched to Charizard and hit it with a Flamethrower. But even with a critical hit, it hung on with red HP, sneaking in a nasty Toxic. But it didn't stop there, because when I tried to finish it off with a Thunder Punch, Steven messed me up by switching to Claydol. I wanted to keep Charizard since it's essential against his Metagross, so I switched to Seadra. With 2 Hydro Pumps, I could defeat it, but something completely unexpected happened, because Claydol increased its stats twice using Ancient Power. My luck couldn't have been worse. The odds of it raising its stats 2 times in a row are just 1%. A Claydol with 2 stat increases is very dangerous. I tried my luck pulling out my Alolan Exeggutor, which has Mega Drain and could heal me, but something unexpected happened again. Another Ancient Power increased for the 3rd time Claydol's stats. Now I was really in trouble. I tried to stay with Exeggutor and drain it as much as possible with Mega Drain, but a single Earthquake sent it to the grave since its attack was up 2 levels. I brought out Gyarados since its Intimidate would lower the attack, and with 2 Waterfalls, it managed to kill the boosted Claydol, not before it used Reflect and Light Screen to complicate the rest of the battle. Now his team was also boosted for 5 turns. Honestly, Steven was making things very difficult for me. His next Pokemon was Aggron. It was time for Aerodactyl to shine alongside its Earthquake. Unfortunately, it did little more than tickle it, even though it's X4 damn screens. The first Thunder from Aggron missed. Finally some luck. The second Earthquake left it at less than half health. Aggron used Thunder again, this time without missing, doing more damage than expected to Aerodactyl. A third Earthquake left it at nearly 1 GP, but unfortunately, Aerodactyl fell after the enemy's Dragon Claw. I brought out Dragonite and with a Fire Punch ended that metal beast. Luckily, we spent so much time in the battle that both screens Claydol set up faded away. I withdrew Dragonite and brought out Gyarados, as Steven's next Pokemon was Armaldo. With 2 Waterfalls from Gyarados, it fell without any problem. Enduring the rival's Ancient Power quite well. Thank God it didn't power up again, I would have jumped off a bridge if it had. Next up was Cradily. As it is a Grass Rock type, I really didn't have anything super effective, so I sent out Dragonite to try and take it out with Outrage. Only needed to use 2 for it to be defeated, and the next to fall was Skarmory, as it was already 1 hit away. Also, I was lucky that Dragonite ended up confused at the end of the turn, freeing me from Outrage and giving me the possibility to withdraw it from battle. His last Pokemon was Metagross, and I sent out Gyarados to trigger Intimidate, although I remembered quite late that it had Clear Body, which ruined my strategy. A Crunch took out nearly 1/3 of its health, and to my surprise, Metagross used Hyper Beam, giving me a turn. Gyarados held on by the skin of its teeth, and with 2 crunches, luckily the last one was critical, I won the 3rd victory. Well, only 2 battles left. The next one is the Unova champion Alder. I started with Gyarados for the usual, its Intimidate. Alder started with a Selgor. With Crunch, I managed to lower its defense. For some strange reason, it used Focus Blast, and with a Waterfall, it went down quickly. To counter his next Pokemon, Bouffalant, I sent out Aerodactyl. I used Rock Slide, managing to make it flinch. On the clean turn, I took advantage to use Earthquake, taking out the same amount of HP. Bouffalant used Head Charge, which, being not very effective, almost took half of its life. I used Rock Slide again, and Aerodactyl landed a critical hit, and Bouffalant flinched again. It seems that this time luck was on my side after the Vietnam flashbacks of the Super Claydol. 1 Earthquake, and Alder's second Pokemon was defeated. defeated. His third Pokemon was Druddigon, so I switched to Seadra since it knows Blizzard. I left it with less than half of its HP, and a superpower from the opponent left me with almost the same amount of HP. I crossed my fingers hoping that the next Blizzard wouldn't miss, but unexpectedly Alder withdrew it and sent out Villainous. It's as if he knew I was going to use Blizzard again. I brought out Charizard to save Seadra for later, but Vanillux's Blizzard dealt disproportionate damage to my precious Charizard. To make matters worse, Flame Charge left it with only 1 HP, but its next Blizzard missed. Karma is balancing things out. Now it was time to finish it off, but here Alder made a mistake by withdrawing the Ice Cream Cone and sending out Druddigon again, taking a Dragon Pulse. Being faster, a second Dragon Pulse finished the job. The next one to fall was his Excavalier due to a powerful flamethrower, sacrificing my Chorizo Ard. The problem was that by doing this, I didn't know which Pokemon Alder would send out next, so I decided to bring out Seadra. Vanilluxe was faster and destroyed my Seadra with a Blizzard, but I defeated his fifth Pokemon with a Crunch from Aerodactyl. His last Pokemon remained, Volcarona. Aerodactyl stayed in for the type advantage, and with a Rock Slide, I made it to the finals. Honestly, this was the easiest battle of all, but let's see how I do in the next one. Yes, it was the calm before the storm, because now it's time for the nightmare of many when we were little, Cynthia. Since it was the final and I knew it would be a tough battle, I decided to give Charizard its Mega Stone. As Spiritomb was her first Pokemon, I decided to start with Dragonite and use Outrage to deal as much damage as possible. It took a critical hit and was left with 1 HP. Spiritomb used Psychic and, before fainting, used Sucker Punch, leaving me with less than half of my HP. Dragonite hadn't become confused yet, so I had to keep battling without the possibility of switching out. Cynthia sent out Milotic, and with a simple Ice Beam, sent my little dragon home. It wasn't a very good start, to be honest. I sent out Charizard and Mega Evolved it so that Ice and Water would be neutralized, and with a Thunder Punch, I took more than half of Milotic's HP. Milotic used Scald, but with a second Thunder Punch, Cynthia had already lost 2 Pokemon. Now it's Gastrodon's turn. I brought out Gyarados to lower its attack with Intimidate and started with Crunch, luckily landing a critical hit. Gastrodon used Stealth Rock, lowering my speed, and on the next turn, it attacked first with Muddy Water, unfortunately poisoning me. A second Crunch lowered its defense, but I didn't want to take any risks, so I decided to withdraw Gyarados and send out Aerodactyl, who sent Gastrodon to the bench with Earthquake. Cynthia sent out her second best Pokemon, Lucario. Since it's a Steel type, I switched to Mega Charizard to hit it with Flamethrower, but I didn't know Lucario had Dragon Pulse. Due to a small slip-up, I lost my best Pokemon. Things had gotten complicated. I didn't lose hope and brought out Aerodactyl using Earthquake against that troublesome Lucario, bringing it down to less than half of its HP, but Lucario and its Flash Cannon. That Lucario was countering all of Lance's Pokemon. I knew winning was impossible, but I still brought out Seadra. I tried to use Hydro Pump, but it was faster than me and finished it off with an Aura Sphere in just 1 turn. I brought out Gyarados, enduring a Flash Cannon, and managed to defeat Lucario with a Waterfall. Unfortunately, it was weakened by the poison and eventually fainted. I had only 1 Pokemon left, Alolan Exeggutor. Cynthia sent out Roserade, and without being able to do anything, it destroyed Exeggutor with Sludge Bomb, putting an end to the battle. I expected it to be difficult, but she really gave me a beating. The good thing is that I still had a life, so I had a second attempt. Let's go. Yes, this time we're going to think of a better strategy. Since Exeggutor didn't do much in the previous battle, I put it in the lead to try to take down Spiritomb. The opponent attacked first with Sucker Punch, taking away a quarter of my HP. Exeggutor countered with Dragon Pulse, leaving Spiritomb with almost the same amount of HP. A second Dragon Pulse left Spiritomb with almost 1 HP. It was a critical hit. Then, a Dark Pulse from Spiritomb left Exeggutor with 10 HP, but I was able to finish it off with a Mega Drain. Next, Cynthia sent out Roserade, and I decided to switch to Dragonite due to its Fire Punch. Sadly, I took a critical hit from Sludge Bomb, leaving me at 27 HP. The Fire Punch took off more than half of Roserade's health and managed to burn it. I decided to sacrifice Alolan Exeggutor to spare Dragonite, but upon switching, Cynthia also switched to Gastrodon. This slug proved to be faster than the Walking Palm Tree, and with a Stone Edge, it was finished off. Next, I sent out Gyarados and used the strategy from the previous battle, Intimidate and Crunch. I managed to finish off Gastrodon, leaving Gyarados with only 35 HP. Cynthia sent out Roserade again, and with an Earthquake from Aerodactyl, I was able to finish it off. Then it was Melodic's turn. The problem was that I couldn't Mega Evolve my Charizard, since I was saving it for Lucario in order to avoid the Dragon Pulse, so I sent out Seadra. A Scald from Melodic took away more than half of its health, even though it wasn't very effective, and the Dragon Pulse didn't do anything. For some reason, Melodic used Ice Beam, leaving Seadra with almost 1 HP. I took advantage to use Hyper Beam before Seadra fainted. I sent out Aerodactyl to chip away a bit more before sending in Charizard. Aerodactyl used Earthquake and left Melodic with 30% of its health. I was very lucky when the opponent used Mirror Coat and missed. I decided to risk it and use Rock Slide, hoping for a flinch. And something incredible happened. Melodic flinched, and I had the opportunity to finish it off with an Earthquake, sending it to the graveyard. Aerodactyl did it again and became the hero of the team. Next, Cynthia sent out Lucario, my worst nightmare. But this time I was prepared. I sent out Charizard and, without Mega Evolving, used Flare Blitz. Lucario attacked first with a Focus Blast, which did practically nothing, and the Flare Blitz took him out in one hit. Finally, it was the turn of her fearsome Garchomp. I thought of the strategy of sending out Gyarados several times to intimidate it and lower its attack. After the first intimidation, I sent out Dragonite as a sacrifice, and Gyarados again to intimidate twice. With its attack reduced twice, I sent out Aerodactyl and tried to lower its defense with Crunch. But I realized that Garchomp was even faster than my speedy Aerodactyl, and a Dragon Claw along with Rough Skin took away more than half of my health, even with the lowered attack. Aerodactyl was able to take away 30% of its HP before being defeated, and I sent out my last Pokemon, Charizard. I checked the stats and realized that Charizard had more defense than Aerodactyl. It could withstand a Dragon Claw, but not if I Mega Evolved it, since it would take double the damage. I decided to keep it in its original form and pray for a Dragon Pulse to take down Garchomp. And well, this decided the battle. Unfortunately, there was nothing I could do. That Garchomp was faster even when Mega Evolving. I couldn't beat Cynthia and I lost this challenge. I'm sweating bullets. What a crazy challenge. Definitely the best one I've done on the channel, for now. I can't end the video without thanking the YouTube members and subscribers who helped me to continue making this content. If you also want to support my content, you can use the join button and become a member. I must not forget to say that if you like the content, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel and like the video. On screen you have the previous challenges in case you haven't seen them yet. See you around or in the next video. Goodbye.